was 10. That was 10 minutes right
So
there.
my point.
That was 10 minutes.
All right, move a little sexual
I'm
chocolate.
over. If you could just shrink a little bit,
That's not going to happen.
that would be great.
That is not going to happen.
Do us a favor and just shrink.
I can't. I can't be
like
a small little
just
pygmy.
turn into a tamale or something.
Wow. Racist.
Who the hell goes wow? Black people. Wow, wow.
Wow. I didn't know black people
Wow is
invented
okay,
wow.
but that way of saying it, wow, and dragging it out. That's a
I actually
color
thought it
thing.
came from white girls.
What, from who? Your people?
White girls.
Who knows? But black dudes, it's black dude thing.
Wow.
Wait, we recording this shit?
Yes, we are, you racist son of a bitch. All right.
We're gonna edit this out, correct?
No, I'm going to keep
No,
it
you're gonna
all
edit-
in
no,
so
edit it
everybody can
out.
see what a
Edit out.
donkey's ass you can be. All right.
Ogre. You
ready?
You look like a troll that lives under.
You look like a
bridge.
black African pygmy.
What my grandfather was. How dare you, motherfucker?
All right, ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Hello, welcome. It's Six Train Therapy. I'm DJ Mayday.
And
the
I'm
produ-
Professor S. What the fuck?
Remember the intros? We said we were going to do the intros?
Yeah, but but we didn't say. Oh, I was gonna say Professor S. You know, blah, 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 and then I'm a psychotherapist. Blah, blah, blah. We didn't talk about how that was gonna go down.
Well,
so
I'm
you're
going to
gonna
introduce myself.
You said DJ Mayday. You didn't say anything after that.
Because you didn't let me.
Oh my god. Okay, go ahead.
Holy shit.
Take two.
Are we going to do this all
Take two.
night? All right, take 2. 1, 2, 3.
Remember, I was away for a while. Go ahead.
This is what I'm saying. Hello, welcome to Six Train Therapy. I'm DJ Mayday, your producer, your creative artist DJ. And this?
And this, and he, and you are. I am Steve. Oh God, again. I'm Professor S. I've been on vacation for a while. I'm Professor S, and I'm a psychotherapist with a private practice in Manhattan and an office in the Bronx.
So, today we got
Welcome.
stuff to talk about.
Six Train Therapy.
Yeah, that's what we do. We give therapy on the 6 train, even though we're not on the train. But that's the theme of our podcast,
It is.
our YouTube channel. So,
We're developing. We're evolving.
evolving, yes.
Yes.
So, anyway, today's topic, this is something we were a little hesitant to really tackle because as
We're
men,
2 men.
yeah, as 2 men, we really don't have a say. So it didn't make sense that we talk about this next subject, which is abortion and everything that's going on with abortion.
I don't know if that's true. You have daughters.
Right.
So you have every what do you call it, skin in the game on this, because you are impacted because they're impacted by this.
Absolutely. But again, once again, when it comes down to it, the choice, I almost feel like, in our opinion, almost on some level doesn't matter because we don't really pay the consequences directly anyway. But what we decided to do is wait, kind of see how the situation evolved, and it seems like in the sense of legislation and
Did we clarify that we're talking about abortion?
yes,
Did
I
you
said
actually say
abortion.
that?
I said the word abortion.
I might have been dozing off. Sorry. To our listeners, I apologize.
Wow. So it seems to be getting worse. It seems to be picking up steam. The ban on abortion in different states. A lot of states went instantly once Roe v. Wade was overturned. They instantly banned abortion. And other states started limiting them. Some states are now in the process of, on the state level, legislating and putting all the eggs in order to fully ban it. So I know Indiana's going through a vote right now, and other states are doing similar things.
Yeah, my research, I looked at Oklahoma and Georgia, and they have what's called the, I don't know if it's called a heartbeat law or it's a heartbeat, I guess, measure, that if you can hear the heartbeat of the baby, then you cannot have an abortion. So Oklahoma and Georgia has that.
Wow, that's almost an archaic. I mean, it almost kind of goes against the principle of what they believe in. It's the spark of life. I don't even want to get into that aspect of it. But what we did was we tried to find women and have the conversation with women. So right now we're going to show you a little interview of 2 women and I talking, and really me just listening mostly to what they had to say. So
Which
I'm
were
not,
interesting perspectives, right?
yeah, very interesting. Like you never know what people are thinking until you ask. So, here it is. All right, this is DJ Mayday, and we are at the pool. So I'm gonna call this segment "Women at the Pool." Lady Tita, aka Karen. I just wanted to ask you guys a basic question, just kind of get the temperature of how you feel. Um, Abortion. What do you think about everything that's going on, Karen?
Who you starting with me?
Yeah, I gotta start with you.
Um, I don't even know what to say, to be honest with you. Everything that's going on at this point, in my opinion, is something unbelievable. I don't believe that the government has any place inside of my body.
No.
Because,
one size doesn't fit all.
right, one size doesn't fit all. So if you, I mean, I think life is life, and I don't think I don't think that an abortion should be a form of birth control. I don't think that people should be getting 2, 3, 4, and 5 abortions. That being said, life is rough, and I don't know if it's in our best interest if these women are incapable of mothering a child, then we're creating a whole other problem if we're not, if they're not aborting their children.
Right.
Now, if you're going to talk about adoption, so, they, you have that scenario, but now you don't know with the adoptive mother, they could be doing drugs, they could not be taking care of themselves, and now we're going to have children that have issues, and again, we're back to that again. So
Right.
when I say that the government has no place in my body and one size doesn't fit all, that's what I mean by that. Because if somebody, God forbid, was raped, or they didn't know they were pregnant, or whatever the case, it's probably, there should be options. And I remember hearing nightmare stories about my grandmother when she had like they called it the hanger, like and she had these complications because I guess she had an abortion. I mean, I was young. I mean, I wasn't alive at the time. I don't remember the story verbatim, but women go and seek out an abortion because they're not in a position to have a child, and it's dangerous.
Can I throw a statistic at you?
Sure.
So you guys could kind of get a baseline. 60% of the women who get abortions already have children. What do you think of that, Tita? Does that make you feel any different? So we're talking about women who know what it's like to bring life into the world, but still opt to get an abortion.
Finances,
Timing.
health. Besides health, it's just incredibly, cost of living has gone up, and they don't feel that they can provide. A lot of friends I know have had abortions after having 2, 3 kids, and they said, I can't afford to give another child a good life. I just can't do it.
Right.
So that's a huge issue.
Age can be a factor
Finances.
too. Age can be a factor too, because if you get pregnant older in life, there can be complications, and then if God forbid the child isn't healthy, it has the impact on the entire
I
family.
mean, I was an older mom, and I was given the option, and I had the amniocentesis test done.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm sorry, not that one. The scan where they measured the back.
Yep.
And so they put me in a room, and they said, if something is wrong with the baby, these are your options.
Right.
And I remember I told the doctor, I was very hurt. I told the doctor, no matter what, I'm having this baby. I always wanted to be a mom, and I struggled with fertility quite a bit. So abortion wasn't an option for me. That was my choice.
Right.
And I'm grateful that I had that choice. But like she said, one size approach doesn't fit everybody. You have women with severe health issues, or rape or incest, and I think there are instances where that decision needs to be made, and I think that's between the woman and her doctor. And I'm tired of the government. Interracial marriage was illegal at one point. Gay marriage was illegal at one point. The government has too much say in our personal lives.
We're going backwards.
They need to mind their business. Mind your business. On a personal level, I think abortion is wrong. I've watched videos. My mom worked for an OBGYN. I know the monstrosity that takes place, the dismemberment of the baby that takes place. I know I've seen pieces of
Arms.
the baby still moving. I mean,
It's horrifying.
it's horrifying. The procedure is horrifying. I'd rather you take a pill, you get contractions, and you abort the baby. I think that would be more humane. Maybe that should be revisited. But again, so the actual act, I could never. That's just me. But I'm not going to walk around and try to shove my truth down your throat. Mind your business.
Well, I think that's going to be a big takeaway. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Mind your damn business.
Stay the hell out of my body.
Gay marriage, mind your business. You don't like it, mind your business. You don't like gay people, mind your business. You don't like interracial marriage, well, mind your business.
Well, like we said,
everyone
too.
is just mind your business.
But like we said too, you should. If you don't believe in it, don't do it.
Yeah, mind your business.
And if it's right for you, then do it. And what's
still
right
mind
for
your
me
business.
isn't necessarily what's right for her.
Always mind your business.
So, again, not one size fits all. So
Right.
Mind your business.
Mind your damn business.
Plain and simple. Just mind your business. You know what? There are going to be exceptions to the rule. There are times when a mom's going to, if you're dying, you have 5 kids, and you have to abort a baby because it's either your life or the baby or your family, think about it. That's a horrifying choice. I would never want to make that choice. And God bless whoever has to make that choice. But I wouldn't be insensitive to that mom. It's like you murder a baby. I'll be like, that took balls.
That's a tough decision.
You have to take care of your other babies.
it's a very tough.
So I think it comes down to the mom and the doctor. Okay, what are the best options? What's going to be better for you?
Now, I hear you guys say a lot about choice and decisions. And do men need to bear some of the burden that it appears that you women are like taking on all the way by yourself?
Get a vasectomy or tie your tubes.
Well, that was interesting because I saw a lot of things on social media after, this new
Roe v. Wade got overturned.
change in things, right? And it was interesting because they were saying that if a female does this, it's against the law, if you will, and yet a man has no liability whatsoever. So we're already burned at the stake and guilty, and they went along, zipped up their pants,
And walked away.
and they're out. So accountability should be across the board.
It should be both.
And
Let me ask you a question. So since women have been burdened with the decision and the outcome of Roe v. Wade,
Yep.
should there be any changes in how we view men's involvement in unwanted
Absolutely.
pregnancies? Should there be more rules, laws, a 3 strikes you're out rule, or like?
If the government can come after our bodies, it could go after the men's bodies too. Why are the women? Women have always been signaled out. We weren't able to vote. We weren't able to do this. We weren't able to do that. So if you go back into history, women have always been the target of suppression of some sort at all times. When does that stop? So yeah, I think that if you're going to make laws to control us, then make laws to control the boys too. Only fair. If not, mind your business.
Mind your damn business.
I
Mind
just
your
think
business.
this control
My
thing
message to
sucks.
the government is mind your damn business. Get out of my house, get out of my head, get out of my body.
And their response to that would be, that is our business because it's a public matter.
Here you have all these people preaching, values and everything. And meanwhile, politicians are the most perverse
corrupt.
human beings.
Oh yeah, they're the most warped, corrupt.
So you're over here preaching moral cleanliness to me, but you're undercover pedophile. Come on, mind your business.
Mind your neck.
Mind your damn business. Get out of mine.
I like that.
That's my message.
What's the message?
Mind your damn business.
Last words, Karen?
Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, go for it.
I think we're all fucked.
Mind your business.
Mind your
But
damn
if you are,
business.
make sure you wear a condom, pull out, and you're on the pill. Oh wait, but we might not be able to do that soon too, because that's the next thing
Wave.
on the cutting block. I just
That's a good one. All right, ladies. Well, thank you for being on Six Train Therapy.
Till then, mind your business.
So, what'd you think, Steve?
That's pretty interesting. I guess the theme was "Mind your own damn business." Is that
Mind your
what it
own
is?
damn business. I feel like that's like the quote from. That's what I got away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But even more so and deeper than that, as they were talking, the vibe I got from them was like it's almost inconsequential whether it's right or wrong, right? But it really is their decision. Like I feel like they carry the baby, they bring the baby to term. It's all happening within them. There's just no way like men can really make that decision.
Well, let me just throw this out, just from my little research that I did, just to take another approach to that. Are that the group? Let's say, for example, this organization called the Alliance for Defending Freedom, which is an organization that fights for the abortion, for against abortion, and part of what their point of view is, number one, based on religious principles. That's number one, and then number two is considered murder. So they're taking the approach that this is murder, and like any kind of murder, that should be prevented. There should be preventive measures, and there should be consequences to you committing murder on this life. So if you could see, if you could see it from that point of view, that's how, I guess, part of the other side. This is how they're seeing it. It's murder.
Uh, it was funny. I was watching a special like a week and a half ago. Bill Burr. You ever
I
heard
know
of him?
Bill Burr. He's one of my
So he had a
favorite
new
comedians.
special on Netflix, and he had the craziest, but just the basic point of view. So he said his belief on abortion. He thinks that women should have the right to choose. Then the women started cheering, and then he was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
But then the men have the right to choose.
No,
Is that
no,
what it
no.
is?
He was
Oh.
like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're not gonna like the rest of what I'm about to say. And then he says, but you are killing babies. And it's like,
Okay.
but
So there it is.
yeah,
right?
there
So
it is.
there
And,
it
and
is.
that,
That's in
on
a-
some level,
and a lot of
I
times,
agree.
and a lot of times, comedy does speak truth.
right?
It's just that the way sometimes it's presented, but that a lot of comedy is that, and they're also, not to go off on a tangent, but comedians' rights is to present comedy is also under attack. So it's happening in various areas, but not to just to stay on the subject, of course.
Right. But anyway, like I felt like Bill Burr kind of said what everybody's thinking. Like, yes, it is your right, but you're it's basically killing a life. And he made an analogy about like if I was making a cake and I just put the cake in, and in 3 minutes while the cake was in, you took it out and threw it on the floor. You you fucked my cake up.
fucked up the cake.
Right.
Okay.
So that's his point. So and on some level I do agree, but there's also another aspect to it, and like in the interview with those two ladies, I posed to them a statistic that I found from Planned Parenthood, which was very interesting to me. I didn't think it was that. Is that 60% of women who get abortions are already parents. So you're getting a very more than 50% of the women are very sober on what they're doing, and they're doing it for a reason. So
For a variety of reasons.
for a variety of reasons, but I trust that reasoning because I trust women, and I especially trust mothers. You know what I mean? So there's got to be something to it. There's got to be something to the fact that we need to kind of leave this up to women.
But you know what's so interesting? Because when I started doing the research, looking at a couple of YouTube videos, one of the first ones I saw was on men's responsibility
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
in terms of contributing to the pregnancy. And this particular person was coming from a Christian point of view in terms of, historically that men have not been defending women over the centuries. However, he was trying to say that. But it was just interesting that men have a responsibility for their part in all of this. And his point was to protect the woman. The
Well,
idea of protecting the woman was an interesting point. It was an interesting point of view.
I mean, ideally, I mean that's what you want, right? You would want that, but that's just not how it's been. It's never been that way. You know what I mean? The women have always bared the brunt, even in the natural world, other in animals. Most of the time, except for rare occasions, the women, the female animals, bear the brunt of the child rearing.
Well,
It's
absolutely. But just a feedback on that. How often do fathers or mothers talk to their sons about using condoms? How do you put on a condom? Do you know how to test a condom? Things like that. And we are talking about abortion. We are talking about women's rights, absolutely. But the father or the male's role in this, what is there? What is the conversation about regarding them? So it's just a point of view.
like what's the equivalent for a woman to pass judgment on a man? There's only one thing, and that's the testicles. That's the nuts.
Well,
Our nuts.
I
Like
I
they
s-
can't say shit to us about our nuts.
I see where you're dragging this conversation down into the gutter right now. But
It's
I'm
not
gonna,
gutter.
But I'm not going
I'm
to
just
follow
trying.
you.
Well,
I'm not going to
you
follow
should follow
you.
because
I'm not going to follow you because
this is the problem. This is the problem.
Okay, it's the
Motherfuckers
problem.
don't want to follow.
It's a problem. I was watching another piece where the mom, um, the father of the child, is not helping out at all with the child care, and she became homeless. She had to have child when she found a job. She needed child care. She couldn't find child care, so she couldn't work. So again, this is about abortion. She had to bring the baby to term, but the father wasn't there. So raises the other issue too, or these quote unquote single moms raising children. Not to say single moms can't raise children. That's not my point. But my point is leaving the women with, like you were just saying, with the in nature, with the brunt of the child care. But then what services are there for the women that can help support this child that they're
Nothing, bro.
forced to bring into
Nothing.
the
As
world?
of now, nothing. I mean, some of these states have made gratuitous like
Yes, that they can,
attempts, yeah,
that they can
but they're not
somehow.
really. When the shit hits the fan, you're not gonna full term from birth to the grave take care of this person to the point where they what they needed. You're not gonna substitute their family with
To
services.
the government.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just not gonna happen. So it's
And
unrealistic.
and here's the other part too, right? Is that this is going to look just through COVID, right? We found how in the inequality of the medical system to people of color, specifically black and brown, because sometimes we say people of color. This is not all catch-all net a lot of the times, but for black and brown communities, there's a disparity in medical care and social service care. So if you're going to mandate women having their children, and you do have services, let's say, in place, there's a tendency for the services to be substandard, or they're just not there, or they're there in some places, in some states, in other states it's not.
Bro, we're not even anywhere near that point to debate the ups and downs of the services. We're,
But that's where
we're
it's going to go, though. That's going to be the
that's not.
outcome.
I don't know if that's. It's gonna go to an ugly place of wire hangers and like
Oh, absolutely.
you know
Absolutely.
weird drugs. People are gonna find another way to do it, and believe me, it's gonna
Oh,
be
absolutely.
dangerous. A lot of women are gonna die because of it. It's just a bad look. A bad look altogether. And
But look at the other side of this, right? If I'm wealthy, or if I got access to funds, I could have my daughter or my wife have it done in secret. I can afford to hire
fly
someone
them out.
to do, or fly them out.
Yeah, fly them out to a
Exactly,
state where it's
wherever.
legal.
So there's a disparity right there, and which is you can't control for that. But what it will do is that publicly, it's going to look like black and brown women are the quote unquote problem, where there's a whole slew of slice that will never get put into the equation because if you have funds, you can do pretty much what you want.
I also heard a wild theory, and I don't know how true this is that a lot of those states where it's being banned in,
Hmm.
they want to make more white babies.
More white babies.
Yeah. So that's why they're
Wasn't
forcing
there a
this ban.
politician that said something like that?
I
She
don't know.
slipped. They said she
I heard
slipped.
the theory thrown around a lot.
This is
It's like to
this
propagate
white.
the
These are
white
white.
American,
Right. Exactly.
and
Which
that's
is
kind
a
of scary in itself.
which is yeah, which is a whole nother debate. But I was just thinking, from the mental
Well,
health
I mean,
point of
is it?
view. But if you go from their reality, doesn't mean we share that reality. If they're seeing this as we're killing a life, then in their way they are protecting the child and they are protecting the mother in their way. I mean, I don't agree, but this is the argument.
I don't
So,
believe
but
it because a lot of
let me
those
just
same states have like death penalties and
right
capital punishment.
and can cause the person that will perform the abortion to be arrested if you know the person is going to have an abortion or has one. You can report them to the police. In one of the states, I think it's Georgia, you get no in Oklahoma, the reward is $10,000
Damn, that's like Crime Stopper
if
type
you well
shit.
yeah well that's the whole thing. The idea is to be able to put a clamp on this. But I just want to take this on another level because as a therapist, as a mental health therapist, one of the examples that I saw was a woman who's diagnosed bipolar, has a history of substance use, has a history of homelessness, and in her state, she has to bring forth the child. And so, what they were saying is that there are services for this woman or for women like this in our state, and therefore there are like a what do you call that, a safety net. There's a safety net for these women. But when they spoke to the interview the politician couldn't say, okay, how much money is being allocated to these types of services. How
Lip
how
service.
do you know that the safety net actually works? And it was a very kind of vague responses, but that is the other part of this, right? As a mental health, when you look at the mental health, and COVID has really brought forth the whole mental health thing. So you imagine if the mother has a mental illness, they know they do, they're getting treatment, but 6 months prior, she was having a hard time until she got on medication to stabilize her mental health. So, but you have a lot of people that are in similar or parallel situations where if they had a choice to not bring the baby to term, then it wouldn't aggravate more their mental health issues or their social issues, or in case of incest and things like that. When you live with an abuser who's constantly raping you and bringing forth children, you don't have a choice. I mean, these are some very dire situations, but there's no protection for them.
Yeah, I also I feel like, I mean, there's a religious component
Absolutely.
to the abortion, discussion that's, I don't know if it's all the way defined. I know they Christian right has like kind of picked up the mantle, and they're like
Very organized.
yeah, very organized,
very
very
much so.
very single-minded about the whole thing. So
Mhm.
it's I don't know. I don't know if I buy into the whole religious reasoning. I don't know if it's a form of control. It's just hard for me. It's just hard for me to wrap my head around that aspect of it. The religion. Is it a life? Is it not a life? I mean, if you peel back the um the decision, their point of view is that you're killing a life,
Right.
and then the people who may need this option is, but you're also killing my life, or making my life much more difficult, or
Hmm.
so there's two kinds of ways to it, and let's not act like people haven't been having abortions since the beginning of time.
Well, even when it was illegal, like you
Yeah,
said, they had back door, back alley abortions. There'll always be some kind of underground way of getting it accomplished. The thing is gonna put women's lives at risk.
Right.
It's gonna cause a lot of pain in families and things of that nature.
Right.
But there is the religious point of view, and it's interesting that as a culture there is this swinging back and forth. You know, there's prohibition, and then there's you can drink. Now you can ban weed. You're going to jail, and now they've got dispensaries, and you can smoke in public and all this other stuff. So
Right.
we seem to swing in so many different directions, and
But this just
maybe
seems
this
like
is
a
gonna be
backward swing, no?
well. It depends on your perspective. I mean, maybe
Seems
for
like a
you and
backwards
I,
swing.
it might be backwards, but for those who have fought for this, it's not backwards for them. For them, it's actually probably forward. It's probably more a forward move because now we're getting back to basic values, right? Make America
Are we
great
the,
again.
well, look,
I think so.
are you familiar with Protestant religion and Pentecostal religions? And I mean that they make up, you know, a chunk of the kind of people we're talking about.
Okay.
Um, their whole thing is, and this is the thing they sell, is that the personal relationship with Jesus Christ, right? That's the selling point, is that personal relationship.
Okay.
So who are you to get in between that relationship, between that individual and their decisions they're making and God?
But that's how religion has been throughout
Well,
the
again,
centuries.
is it in the spirit of the belief of Jesus and the personal relationship with God?
Well, anybody can interpret how that statement.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
just,
it's a matter of interpretation, and it's a matter of, well, who legislates. I mean, you have the Pope, right? The Pope will say, well, this is what a relationship is like with God. Who's the Pope? The Pope means a lot to millions of people. Other people say that's a man. That's another man making all these decisions. So it's a very it's a complicated question that you're asking, but as per what is happening with Roe v. Wade and other situations like that, it's an agenda, right? It's a way of saying this is what we believe that is right, and if we get enough people to back us up that it's right, then it's right.
yeah, but that still doesn't jive the um the religious Pentecostal Protestant born again Christian mentality. It doesn't jive with the uh, the the belief system, because if it's a personal relationship with Jesus, if it's your relationship with Jesus, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do
Well,
with you.
well,
If they, whether they commit murder, use drugs, have
well,
you know,
look, if I'm in a church of 100 people and my pastor says, yeah, gays are wrong and abortion is wrong, and if you're a true believer of Jesus Christ, then you should believe in that. So out of 100 people,
yeah, but again,
you may have maybe 80% that will completely agree with that. And that is now the thought of the church.
yeah, but again,
So you just
again,
broaden that, and
the
that's
Protestant,
what it is.
even just the Protestant belief, the breakaway from Catholicism and Orthodox Catholicism in Europe. The whole point of it was to change and grow and move on. That church that these people belong to is a progressive church from, you know, either Roman, Greek, Catholic beliefs from Europe. It was a breakaway. It was a growing situation. You broke rules to break away. You changed the rules to break away. You know what I mean? I say continue evolving. I mean, stick to your core beliefs that it's a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and allow that person to pay for their sins or not pay for their sins. Allow that person to go through that Christian process if that's what you believe. You know what I mean? But I don't think.
I follow you.
You
But
know what I
that's
mean?
not
So it
put in-
doesn't go.
put in-
It goes against, and then you pass judgment. Like again, also a lot of these same states have capital punishment. So a criminal's life doesn't matter. So you've passed judgment. You've passed that judgment that their life is unworthy to continue because of the crimes they committed. So you're gonna sit here and tell me life is life. Life is not life, obviously to you. you are able to pass judgment
And
and,
pick
and
and
create a
choose.
hierarchy and pick and
Hierarchy.
choose
Absolutely. Absolutely.
what lives matter and what lives don't.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry, I got a
absolutely right.
little excited.
No,
there.
that's okay. I think that's a good point. I mean, that's another angle to this debate. Um, but just to play, devil's advocate, uh, do I look like a devil? I look like a
No,
devil. You about to say I look like
would
a
play
devil?
devil's. No, I'm just kidding.
But I think that again, it's what a group of people believe, and whoever's the strongest to exert their beliefs is what rules the country, the state, or whatever. That has been the nature of religion for thousands of years, and now we are in this right swing now. So here we are. Like somebody was saying on one of the shows. I mean, slavery was abolished in 1865, so that's just over 150 years ago. There was no constitutional rights for slaves. The Voting Rights Act is the 15th Amendment, and even so, you have the right to vote, but they also you go to voting places, you don't have enough ID, or they make it difficult for you to get there, especially if you're people of color, or you're going to kind of create an imbalance in the voting. So even though you have a constitutional right, there's all kinds of barriers for you to exert your right.
Or
And
even the
then
number of places to vote in certain
Exactly.
neighborhoods is
No.
greater,
Yeah.
whereas you have one, like for instance, in the last election, like one mailbox in a certain neighborhood
Right.
where it would get over,
right.
So there's
You know,
a
the
lot of
the
games being played.
the 19th Amendment was the right for women to vote. I mean, there's all these. On one hand, you could see this as evolving. Our country evolving, which is what makes America so much different than other countries. However, in 1967, up until 1967, it was illegal to have an interracial marriage.
Holy
67, it was illegal. That was a loving versus loving, or the loving case. It's 1967. That's within most of our lifetime that was illegal. So, and that was a constitutional right that had to be put in place. They didn't have the right to do that. So, when you look at things like that, it's a very frightening. It's a very frightening situation. Gay marriage rights is something that's brand new. That'll be the next on the chopping block probably. But
Definitely,
what I was
probably.
looking at, when I was doing my research, like what are constitutional rights, or some examples. So I just read off some examples, but the one that really stood out for me was the interracial marriage as recently as 1967. And then you have what's his name, Judge Thomas, who's in the Clarence Thomas. He's in an interracial marriage. He's not putting that out there, but that's something that's on the blocks.
Well,
I guess it's not on the blocks per se, but
no, I think the
but
gay
but
marriage is next.
But it's a shifting of what is considered a constitutional right. I think that's what the debate is, because at one point it's a constitutional right, and then it becomes not a constitutional right.
Does this move separate men and women more? Meaning, like, does this isolate? I feel like between social media, and we've grown apart, men and women, on some level.
Well, I'm not sure if that's taking us in a whole.
No, I know. It's just a quick.
However,
I just want to.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No, but I think you're
Like, is this going to
absolutely-
cause more of a rift between men and women?
Yeah, I think it's just revealing. It's just another thing revealing the inequality of women and men, and how women are legislated against, and that's always been there. It's not gone. It's just another example of what it manifests as.
Okay.
To
All
us,
right.
the conversation.
This whole subject's made me a little unhappy. I want some more prosecco. That's the end of our 6 Train Therapy podcast. I'm DJ Mayday.
And I'm Professor S.
Peace.
Take care.
Till then, mind your business.